Good evening. I would like to bring the Monday, June 6, 2022 meeting of the Wilson School Board to order. Roll call, please.
Hay,
Here.
Mr. Hart,
Here.
Mrs. Casper,
Here.
Dr. Kennedy. Here. Mr. Martin,
Here.
Mr. McCray, Mr. Negrini,
Here.
Mr. Schneider,
Here.
Mrs. Cocker.
Here.
8 present, 1 absent.
Please stand for the pledge to the flag. Okay. This evening, we have no items under communication, so Mr. Maravich, we do have agenda item public participation.
Okay, I'll read the rules of public participation. Pursuant to the Sunshine Law, Robert's Rules, and Board Policy, the following are the rules of public participation. Individuals attending this meeting are expected to conduct themselves in a responsible and respectful manner that does not disrupt the meeting. Public comment is not question and answer, but instead is an opportunity to offer comments on matters that that are before or may come before the board. As it relates to questions, the superintendent may assign an administrator or may speak directly to the speaker after the meeting to attempt to answer any questions. All comments must be directed to the board as a body and not to any individual. Clapping, calling out, or cheering is not permitted, nor is conversations in the audience. Individuals may not approach the board tables. Individuals shall make their comments from the speaker's lectern. Comments shall be limited to 3 minutes, and I'll provide a 1-minute warning. Any persons making any threats of violence may be removed from the meeting or may be cited by local police. The following expectations are outlined in Board Policy 903, which is embedded in board docs on the district's website.
Thank you. First, for public participation, Gary Kohler, foreign exchange student.
Good evening, Madam President, members of the board. I want to thank you for the option of having a foreign exchange student live with me for the next school year. I was totally in awe of my first experience 7 years ago, and then COVID and a bunch of other things intervened, and finally this year I can rejoin what I think is the international world, the way to learn about what's going on. And for anyone who has not ever done this, it is an awe-inspiring opportunity to learn about how other customs interweave with our customs, how all of us work together for a better planet. So I noticed there's also a second person from Italy. I don't know anything about that person. My person is a citizen of the Republic of China who lives on the island of Taiwan. So I am thrilled to have this person coming in August. And again, I thank you very much for the opportunity to be able to do this. Thank you so much.
Thank you for your comments, Mr. Kohler. Next is Jeff Janagavo, book donations.
So I want to begin by saying that I don't advocate for banning books. I do advocate, though, for sound judgment on book choices and curriculum selection. So previously donated, as an example, Middle School is a Drag, has enough language and innuendo within it that if you overheard a middle school student in the hallways, they'd be likely punished. Additionally, their broad sweeping characterizations about those who don't agree with its main characters in the book, which again, if those characterizations and generalizations were said aloud at school, likely it would be an issue. So for middle schoolers, I just question, is it appropriate content? From the book on the agenda tonight, this is a review from the School Library Journal, as found on its Amazon listing. The story begins, and this book's focused on K through grade 3. Quote, "The story begins, there was once a fact. The fact's a cute, fuzzy blue ball with big eyes. As something with proven veracity, it seems as though there shouldn't be anything remarkable about the fact. It should be accepted as truth. Instead, the fact is confronted with disbelief and apathy. These are tough enough to stand up to, but then comes those with deliberately insidious intentions. The authorities, long-limbed and red-gloved, are faceless entities that seek to bury the fact and replace it with more convenient untruths. Hope lies with the fact-finders, well-intentioned beings armed with hard hats and spades, working to dig out the fact and its brethren. The world is dark when the truth is buried, and only by bringing the facts back into the world is brightness restored." The book feels like an obvious response to issues in today's political and media climate, but unfortunately oversimplifies a complex and nuanced topic without examining the societal and personal circumstances that contribute to individual beliefs. The illustrations are colorful and provide a clear visual contrast between those determined to crush the facts, those determined to bring the facts to light, and the sad little fact itself, emphasizing the threats that exist in this allegorical world. However, just like with the text, adult readers may see real life
1 minute.
and potentially alienating parallels in the illustrations. You can go on this listing and read it. That was written by Alyssa Anico, Youngstown State University, Ohio. So my thoughts are that I don't ever want to hear from anyone in education questioning parents' concerns about subject matter in books. You approve them, fine. Parents may question them. The allegory in the book is obviously biased. The little fact is blue, Democrat blue. The faceless, long-limbed authorities with red hands are Republican red. These color choices were obvious choices by its illustrator. They were obviously intentional, as the library reviewer said, or alluded to, that it's political driven. But remember, we're told no politics in school, and this book is pointed at 5- and 7-year-olds. So I don't ever want to hear about bloviations and crocodile tears, about parents being disappointed in what's put in front of their children. Just as an example, I wonder if this book, Problem Child by Dr. Khalid Moomin, is in our libraries, where 4 times he tells children of color he will not allow the color of their skin to not let them succeed. I wonder if that book's in our library.
Thank you for sharing your concerns. The board met in executive session prior to the meeting to discuss personnel issues. Under Human Resources, 2.1, request to accept the resignation of Dr. Christopher Trickett as interim superintendent and assistant superintendent of secondary effective June 30th, 2022. Followed by 2.2, request approval to enter into a 5-year agreement with Dr. Christopher A. Trickett as superintendent of schools in the Wilson School District beginning July 1st, 2022, at a starting salary of $198,000, oath of office, new superintendent by President Judge Thomas Parisi. So I believe we're going to take 2.1 and 2.2 separately, and then have Dr. Trickett sworn in. Do I hear a motion for 2.1 and 2.2?
Hart, motion.
Mr. Hart, thank you. Dr. Kennedy, thank you. Roll call, please. Oh, I'm sorry, discussion? Thank you. Sorry, Mr. Martin.
Thank you. I could sit here tonight and pretend that the superintendent search was performed well and that Chris is the best candidate. I just can't do that and sit here without speaking up. I feel to a degree that I'm betraying Chris, which is not the intent of this conversation. This will be the 6th superintendent since I've been on the board. In each case, the process was very well thought through and took over several months. In this particular case, the search and complete transaction was less than 30 days. A while back, a search for a superintendent was being conducted, even though